They don't have to say a word. You just notice it. That one moment when their eyes hold yours a little too long, not enough to be obvious, but just enough to make your chest tighten. It's not about the look itself. It's about what happens after. The quick glance away, the subtle breath, the silence that suddenly feels heavy. That's the mind betraying the heart. A tiny crack in someone's emotional armor. Because sometimes attraction doesn't speak in words. It speaks in seconds, in that one extra heartbeat where two people forget to pretend. You've felt it before. That fleeting second when your eyes meet someone else's and the world seems to pause. There's no music, no grand moment, just silence. And something you can't quite name. You look at them, and for a split second, they look back. But this time, they don't look away immediately. There's a stillness, a quiet current that passes between you. It's not loud, it's not obvious, but you feel it, like static before thunder, like a whisper that never turns into words. And then, they look away too fast, almost too fast, as if afraid you might see the truth they've been trying to hide. Their face stays calm, but their body gives them away. The quick blink, the slight breath, the faint tension in their jaw. That's not disinterest. That's control. It's the mind stepping in to rebuild the wall the heart just cracked open. But here's the part most people miss. When they look back again, and they always do, that's the real confession. Not in the first look, but in the second one. The one that happens after they've already tried to act indifferent, because the eyes always return to what the soul isn't done feeling. You've probably experienced it too. When you see them across the room and your instincts betray you, you tell yourself you don't care, but your eyes still search for them. You're talking to someone else, but a part of your mind is tuned to their presence, catching even the smallest glance your way. That's not coincidence. That's connection. A silent frequency that only two people can sense. Psychologists call it a micro moment of emotional transparency. The split second where your conscious mind hasn't yet filtered your true feelings. Before logic steps in, before fear returns, before the mask rebuilds itself. In that short silence, the eyes speak everything the lips refuse to. Longing, curiosity, unresolved tension. Sometimes even love that has nowhere else to go. That's why those seconds feel electric, because your brain picks up more than you realize. The dilation of pupils, the subtle delay in looking away, the rhythm of their breathing. Your body recognizes emotional truth before your mind has time to argue with it. And so you leave that moment wondering, did they feel it too? Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't want to. But you can always tell, because for the rest of the conversation, they avoid your gaze just a little too much, or meet it just a little too long. The eyes don't confess in words. They confess in pauses, in those fragile seconds between pretending and feeling. And sometimes that's where the real story begins. Not in what was said, but in what almost was. When someone looks at you, really looks, it's not just about sight, it's about recognition, connection, vulnerability. That extra second of eye contact is rarely accidental. It's a signal from the subconscious, a slip in the mask the mind usually wears so carefully. Here's what actually happens beneath the surface. When you see someone you're drawn to, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of curiosity and anticipation. It sharpens your focus, pulls your attention in. That's why your eyes lock on without meaning to. You're not analyzing, you're drawn. The gaze becomes a bridge between your emotions and theirs, something deeper than words. Then something even more fascinating occurs. Mirror neurons. These are the parts of the brain that allow us to feel what others feel. When your eyes meet, your nervous system begins to synchronize. Tiny, almost invisible responses mirror each other. The blink rate, the breathing pattern, even the subtle muscle tension around the mouth. This is why that second of eye contact can feel electric. Because for a moment, two nervous systems are in sync. Two minds reflecting one another before either of you says a single word. But that's also where fear enters. Because emotional transparency, even for a split second, is terrifying. We live behind filters, roles, masks, and when someone holds your gaze too long, it threatens all of that. It's as if they've seen something private, something you didn't mean to show. That's why people often look away too quickly, laugh, or change the subject. It's not disinterest, it's self-protection, a subconscious attempt to close the door that just opened. Psychologists describe this moment as emotional vulnerability, the instant where the eyes reveal what the mouth cannot admit. You're exposed, but you don't hate it. You fear it, but you crave it too. That's what makes prolonged eye contact so powerful. It's both invitation and resistance at once. And here's the paradox. The more someone tries to appear indifferent, the harder it becomes to control that micro-expression, that tiny delay before looking away. Because attachment isn't logical. The body betrays what the mind tries to hide. You can fake words, you can fake smiles, but you can't fake that flicker of recognition that happens when your eyes meet the person who stirs something real inside you. That's why it lingers in your memory. Why you replay it later, wondering, what was that? Because your brain remembers the feeling, not just the moment. And that feeling, that silent pull, is the mark of emotional resonance. Eye contact isn't just seeing, it's being seen. It's the soul's way of saying, I recognize you, even when the mind stays silent. It's the shortest distance between two people, and sometimes the most dangerous one. That 1 second too long isn't about time, it's about truth. Sometimes that look isn't about attraction, it's about recognition. Like two souls remembering they've met before, not in this lifetime maybe, but somewhere unspoken, in the quiet memory of the heart. That's why it lingers. Why you keep thinking about it even after you've walked away. It's not because of beauty or charm or timing. It's because, for a split second, you felt seen, not through your face or your words, but through something far deeper. There's a kind of honesty that lives in the eyes. The kind that can't be rehearsed. It doesn't ask for permission, and it doesn't lie. When two gazes meet and hold, it's like time folds in on itself. The noise fades, and for a moment, you both stop pretending. The world outside disappears. What's left is raw, a silent confession neither of you planned to make. You see, attraction is often loud. It flirts, it teases, it performs. But connection, real connection, is quiet. It hides in pauses. It shows itself in the stillness between blinks. That's why that extra second of eye contact can feel heavier than 1,000 words. It carries the weight of everything you didn't say, everything you wanted to, and everything you were too afraid to admit. Sometimes that look means, I see you the way you want to be seen. Other times it whispers, I wish I didn't care this much. Either way, it reveals something both people were trying to hide, that beneath all the distance and control, they still long to be understood. Psychologists might call it emotional synchronization or subconscious bonding. But on a human level, it's simpler. It's longing disguised as composure. It's desire held still so it doesn't ruin the peace. It's the body betraying what the heart can't say out loud. And yet there's beauty in that restraint, because not every connection is meant to unfold. Some exist just to remind us that we're capable of feeling deeply, even in silence, that we can recognize something real, even when we have to let it pass. That's the paradox of eye contact. It's both fleeting and eternal. It lasts a second, but the feeling stays, replaying quietly in the back of your mind like an unfinished sentence. So when someone looks into your eyes a second too long, don't overthink it. It might not be love, it might not even be interest, but it is a glimpse into the part of them that still feels, the part that escapes logic, ego, and fear. Sometimes a look isn't meant to start a story. It's meant to awaken something that's been asleep in you, a reminder that you're still capable of connection, even in a disconnected world. Because the eyes, they don't impress. They remember. They recognize. And when they linger, even for a second too long, they remind us that beneath all our composure, we still ache to be understood. A second too long, that's all it takes. For the truth to slip through the cracks we try so hard to hide behind. For the heart to speak before the mind has time to stop it. That single pause, that heartbeat of silence, becomes a confession neither of you intended, yet both of you felt. It's not loud. It doesn't demand. It simply exists, quietly between two gazes that met and forgot to let go. Maybe it's not love. Maybe it's not destiny. Maybe it's just two people who accidentally saw each other. Not the version they show the world, but the one that trembles underneath. And in that second, everything unspoken becomes real. Because the eyes never lie. They hold the truth even when the lips deny it. They reveal longing even when pride stays silent. They remember what the heart has tried to forget. That's the power of that one extra second. It's small, invisible, but it can haunt you for days. You'll catch yourself replaying it in your mind. The way they looked away too quickly, or the way your chest tightened when they didn't. It's like your soul recognized something before your logic could understand it. A second too long, that's all it takes. For two people to realize that maybe something unspoken already exists. Something neither of you can name, but both of you can feel. And perhaps that's enough. Not every connection needs to be defined. Some are meant to stay where they began. In that moment, in that look, in that second too long. Because sometimes what matters most isn't what's said or done. It's what lingers quietly in the space between two eyes that dared to meet. If you've ever felt that silent spark in someone's eyes, you already know what words could never explain. That quiet connection, that brief unspoken truth that only the heart can recognize. Some moments don't need labels. They just need to be felt. Once deeply. If this spoke to you, stay a little longer. Subscribe to Factsworth for more stories that explore the quiet side of love, emotion, and the unseen language between souls.